Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sumukaschaye Kadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakaha Lambodharascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha Dhumaketurganadhyakshaha Palachandro Gajananaha Vakratundaha Surpakarno Herambah Skandapurvajaha Suklam Bharadaram Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashanteye Yasidvaradavakradhyam Parishadhyam Parastatam Vignam Nighanti Satatam Vishwaksenam Tamastraye Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheswaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. With Bhagavan's grace, let us continue. We came up to Slokam number 22. The yogi who still has some desires left, and when he leaves this universe, this sphere of appearances and disappearances, which is the product of combination of gunas, prakriti, he goes through several levels or regions. These are levels of consciousness, awareness, and he goes through several of them. Now, if the yogi has got residual desires, if he does not have any desire, like Parikshit or like Ramana Maharishi, people like that, they go to Paramapadam immediately. But if he has desires left, if he wants to enjoy the pleasures of Brahma Loka, for example, or the Devalokam, Sargam, and things like that, then he leaves the body along with his senses and mind, both Indriyas and Manas. Both he carries them with his subtle body. That is number 22. Yadi prayasyam rupa parameshtyam vaihayasanam uta yat viharam ashtadhipatyam guna sannivaye sahayeva gacchete manasa indriyaihi cha. Number 23. Yogeswaranam gatim auhu antar barhi trilokyaha pavana antar atmanam na karmabhihi tam gatim apnuvanti vidya tapah yoga samadhi bhajam. Yogeswaranam gatim auhu antar barhihi trilokyaha pavana antar atmanam na karmabhihi tam gatim apnuvanti vidya tapah yoga samadhi bhajam. Yogeswaranam gati ahu. It is said, gatim, the pathway of Yogeswara, people who have mastered the yoga, who have become, given up desires, who are full of prema, love. What happens to them? Antar barhihi trilokyaha pavana antara atmanam. The pavana antara atmanam, that is subtler than the air. Antar barhi, they can move about in all the three spheres, either within or without, because they become subtle than the air itself. Those are people who are yogeswaras, people who have mastered the art of yoga, becoming one with Bhagavan. And what do? They're also, how did they become yogeswaras? They have, through vidya, through knowledge, the knowledge that is obtained by personal experience. Any knowledge obtained from personal experience has zero doubt. Zero doubt. Every piece of knowledge that is obtained by intelligence has always got an element of doubt and uncertainty. So, but vidya, through personal experience, through anubhavam, as we say, through tapaha, through discipline, tremendous amount of purification discipline. Purification means what? Removal of desires. Desire is an impurity. That's a root cause. So, tapas means Tapa, the word tapa means something that pulverizes and purifies and absorbs everything into it. And fire has got that quality. So the tapaha, purification exercise, they become masters. And what is a classic tapas? There are three types of tapas that they're given to us, taught to us in Bhagavad Gita. One associated with the body, another associated with the speech, and a third associated with the mind. You can look at chapter number 17. It's a very important teaching in Bhagavad Gita that each one of us should follow. So when you do that, the mind, the speech, and the body, the action, body means the action that we do with the body, they all become purified. When they become purified and they are in complete alignment with one another, with each other, that is called Trikarana Suddhi. And that is the most important thing to achieve. And that can be achieved only through prema. No other way it can be achieved. So Vidya, Tapaha, Yoga, Samadhi. These Yogeswaras, they've attained their Aishwarya stage, the one of achievement, one of the wealth of yoga through personal experience and knowledge, anubhavam, through tapas, and through the yoga path that they have embarked on diligently, and finally achieving samadhi itself, bhajam. In that stage, what does a devotee do? What does a person who's reveling in prema, what does he do? He only worships that prema because he finds it's a fathomless ocean and it is so endearing. It is phenomenally endearing. Without your ability to control, you will only worship it, as Sukha does when he narrates the stories and glories of Krishna to Parikshit. Many a time he himself goes into samadhi. Tears come down from his eyes. His whole body, it's got a beautiful splendor. Even for a persona like Sukha Muni, who is always in Brahman, without any feeling of separation from Bhagavan. That is the beauty of the nectar, or the sweetness of prema that Bhagavan is. So that bhajam, these yogeswaras, they become subtler than air, pavana antara atmana. And because they have become so subtle, they can move about antaha bharvihi trilokyaha. In all the three spheres of this manifested world, they can move within as well as without. Na karma bihi tam gatim. Na karma bihi. Those people who are doing work only as a show, as a ritual, as even though the work may be prescribed in the Vedas. All work that we do are prescribed in the Vedas. Please remember that. There is nothing that is not prescribed in the Vedas. So Vedas Vedanga is our source, is our authority, and is our origin. So that tells us what to do. And even though we go about and doing it, or whether we perform yagam, whether we perform worship, whether we perform charity, whatever we do, those people who do those activities, they do not achieve the subtler than air and ability to move within and without all the three spheres of the manifested Prakriti. Why so? Vedas are the authority. How come if I follow Vedas, I do Archana to Swami, I do worship, I do charity, I do Yagam, I do Nama Sankirtanam, how come I don't get that? That's a very, very important question that we must understand the answer to. Because all these are actions that say what? They do not describe the how. The how is and the how and the why you do something is the most important. That is where bhajam comes in. Bhajan, bhaja govindam. He says we must love Bhagavan. Any activity that is done without loving Bhagavan is worthless. That is what it means. Na karma bihi. They do not gatim, they do not achieve the apnuvanti, they do not achieve what the vidyaha, tapaha, yoga, samadhi, bhajam, yogeswaranam, those yogeswaras, what they achieve. People who do ritualistic activities and activities sans devotion to Bhagavan, they cannot achieve that. Yogeswaranam gatim ahu antar barhi trilokyaha pavana antar atmanam na karmabhi tam gatim apnuvanti na apnuvanti. They do not achieve it. Na vidya tapaha yoga samadhi bhajam. Number 24. Vaisvanaram yati vigayasa gatah sumushniya brahmapatena sochisha vidhuta kalkah ata harehe udastate prayati chakram nripa sausumaram. Vaisvanaram yati vihayasa gatah sumushnaya brahmapatena sochisha viduta kalkah ata harehe udastate prayati chakram nripa sausumaram. Now, let us first look at this physically. That's something that our intelligence can begin to appreciate and maybe grasp a little bit. We all know what the universe, we have an idea what the universe, we can imagine, picture what it is like. We have seen pictures from NASA and so many stars and galaxies and all that, right? And we also know that the Dhruva Nakshatram, the pole star, is a center, is a center around which the whole universe is revolving around. The same way Earth is revolving around the sun, the Milky Way, the sun is revolving in the Milky Way galaxy, the galaxy is revolving around something else, and the whole universe is revolving around this Dhruva Nakshatram, what we call as the pole star. Now, what is it at the center of that exactly? You've got to think about it now. This is now going to take this Slokam and the next Slokam. You can understand that physically to some degree, but more important, what happens on the spiritual body, the mental body, okay, the mind that is purified, which is purification means where the heart is expanding, the Hridayam is taking over. What exactly happens? Vaisvanaram yati vigayata tataha sumushnaya. Those yogis who are performing the dharana and dhyanam and still have desires left. To give up desire is easy, at the same time it is not easy. And so they are hanging on to whatever it is that they are hanging on to, right? They are called yoga brashtas. Arjuna asked Krishna, what about those people, who attempt and then they don't fully succeed? And Krishna answers him, do not worry. These yoga brashta means those are the term he uses. These people who have not fully completed the process of yoga and they fall down, when they start again, resume the journey in the yoga in the pathway, they begin exactly where they left off last time. So nothing is lost. If you have covered 5 steps, then you start from the 5th step onward, whenever you come back to it. The choice is up to you. So this is the beauty of spiritual journey. Nothing is lost. No opposite effect is ever gotten. It is always reward and reward and reward, beneficial reward only. There is no loss at all in this effort. Even a small step you take will have a benefit that is enduring, loss forever. So these yogis who take the pathway of concentrating and focusing and developing the total exclusive love for Bhagavan, but they have the residual desire of whatever it may be. It may be the form of an opposite gender, for example. Generally, as you know about the story of Vishwamitra, or it could be something to do with power. It could be something to do with wealth, whatever it may be, right? And those people, when they leave the body, what do? Vihayasa gataha. They follow the pathway, the spatial pathway. Vigayasa, we saw that yesterday. People who are journeying in the road of the space. The space is also a pathway. Please remember that. Okay, just like the way we have roads and highways and all that. So people who travel in the subtle body, Vihayas are those people. Gataha, in the pathway they go. These people, Vaisvanaram Yati. They attain this sphere of the space of Agni, Vaisvanara, the fire. We spoke about. What is this Agni? That is a purifying element. The space where there is purifying element is present fully. So the moment you go there, just the way we put some dirt in the fire, immediately that becomes pulverized and the dirt goes away. Any dirt you throw in the fire, what happens? It becomes pure only. The impurities are gone. We may explain it through different chemical reactions. That is incidental. But what happens is the impurities are gone, right? And we also know how do you purify gold, right? You melt it, right? So that you can remove the impurities away from it. Just as an example I'm giving you. So anything and everything we put in Agni gets purified. This is a fundamental thing you must understand. And so when we go to the sphere of the space of Agni, what happens? You become purified of the desires that you had. How does he achieve it? Sumushnaya, Sumushna Nadi, that we have. The yogi leaves his body through the Sushumna Nadi, and reaches the sphere of Agni, where his desires get purified. Then, Brahma Patena Sochisha, the Sochisha, Saucham, these all talks about purification, purified state. Where there is purity, there is bliss. Sochisha also means very blissful. The bliss comes only when there is purity. We have sorrow and misery because of our impurities. This is very important to understand. Each one has got a quality. Purity has a quality of happiness and bliss only. Impurity has a quality of sorrow and misery only. Please remember that. And so Sochisha, Brahma Patena. Patena means the pathway of Brahma. Brahma means expanding. Expanding means what? Expanding your love. Removing our artificially implanted restrictions on sharing our love. A newly born child has no inhibition. It shares its love with everyone, whether it's a thief or an ugly person or a beautiful person, poor person, rich person, it doesn't really matter. The child is equally loving to everyone. But we put our artificial restrictions. All those are removed, and Brahma Patena, holding on to the pathway of expanding one's hridayam, after leaving the body through the Sushumna Nadi, following the pathway of the space travelers. The Vihayasa is really the space travelers who travel in spiritual bodies so subtle. And Vaisvanaram Yati, the space of Agni, this yogi reaches. In that process, Sochisha, he becomes purified and very blissful. Vidhuta Kalkaha, Vidhuta, freed from Kalkaha, all types of dirt and impurities. He achieves the sphere of Agni. That purifies him, removes all the dirt. Then after that only, remember, we cannot reach the lotus feet with all our dirt. Impossible. But the moment I grab that lotus feet and hold on to it like Prahlada did and Dhruva did, the impurities are automatically removed. This is the beauty. But for those of us with residual desires, we have to purify and remove our desires first. Afterwards, Harehe Udastat. Harehe, Bhagavan, Vishnu, Srimad Narayana. Udastat, we rise up become even subtler. As the heart expands and expands and expands, our grossness becomes less and less and less. The more loving I am, the less gross I am. Simple. Our mind is very light. Forget the body. The body is only as heavy as your mind thinks it is. It's very important to understand. And one quick anecdote I will share with you. A friend of mine went to extremely accomplished yogi, a Latino lady living in Mexico. She was in her 90s, 96, 98 years or something. Phenomenally advanced in yoga and also full of love. And she was really a yogeshwari. And this friend of mine from Brazil went there to see her. And she spoke many languages, at least half a dozen languages she spoke. So he went there and she told him to wait. Then while he was waiting, he was standing up. Then she sent two of her disciples to him. And she said, lift your arms. So he lifted his arms. So the disciples put their fingers, that forefinger, under his armpit, one on each side. Then this lady said, lift him up. And they tried to lift him up with just one finger on each side. They couldn't lift him up. Then this lady said, Indra Devi was her name. She told my friend, close your eyes and think that you are lighter than the feather. And he did that. He thought, 100%, I'm lighter than the feather. Then she asked those disciples to lift him up with the same two fingers they had. And they could do that. The classic, and then of course she laughed at him and said, it's all in the mind, isn't it? There's a beautiful lesson to know, okay? That I think I'm 150 pounds weight and you think you're 160 pounds or whatever. It's all the mind. The mind thinks you are weightless, then you become weightless. So this process, the Akaha Harehe Udastate, why I explained that was Udastate. Because Udastate means to rise up. When do you rise up? When your grossness decreases and you become light and very subtle, then you rise up. When you become subtle, when your mind does not have any worries. Right now we are burdened with all the worries and anxieties and everything else. These are all due to impurities. And the origin of the impurities is desire. So when the desire goes away, what happens to the mind? Where is the weight? Nothing in there. So it rises up to the kingdom of Hare, Mahavishnu himself. Prayati, Chakram, Prayati attains. Chakram, which is the shape of a wheel, which is a wheel of time. O Nripa, O king, going towards this kingdom of Hari, it reaches this Sausumaram. As we saw yesterday, it's in the shape of a crocodile. What is there in the universe physically that is in the shape of a crocodile? It's the hub of the whole universe. The hub, it is the center of pole star, around which the whole universe is revolving around. And as a crocodile moves its tail, to and fro, if you can picture it, the same way the universe is also. Different galaxies are formed the same way. The hub is called the Sausumaram. He reaches that part. Now, physically, I explained this to you. So, in other words, through the mind that has become extremely light and devoid of desires and purified and removed of all desires, you can travel without a space vehicle or anything like that, right to the center of the universe itself. That's what this slokam simply means. This is what our rishis did. This is what Hiranyakasipu did when he went there, spatial travel. This is what all people who achieved the Siddhic powers, and through meditation, these powers are possible. Now, on a spiritual basis, getting to the hub of the universe means not just the whole star. That we will see in the next slokam. and then I'll share that with you at that time. 1 second. What's the time now? It's 9:25. Okay. Slokam number 25. Tat Visvanabhim tu Apivartya Vishnoho Aniyasa Virajena Atmana Yekaha Namaskritam Brahmavidam Upaiti Kalpa Ayusha Yate Vibhudaha Ramante. Now, here we are going to cover two more spatial, what we call lokam. There are Mahar Lokam, Tapar Lokam, and Sathya Lokam, Jana Lokam, and all that. Okay, and here we are going to the Rishi talk. The Sukha talks about the Mahar Lokam. The yogi, after leaving the body on earth, has now reached the hub of the universe, if you can picture it that way, on a physical basis. On a spiritual basis, the spiritual body, his heart has expanded so much, it has encompassed the whole universe itself. But still, does he have any residual desires? No, it's all been purified. But still the feeling of ahankaram is still there. The separation from Bhagavan is there, right? So this lokam now that the yogi reaches at the Rosumar is after reaching the hub of the universe. In the hub of the universe, what is present? They talk of the Nabhi of Mahavishnu, of Srimad Narayana, the whole creation coming out of that. That's what we're going to talk about. On a physical basis, you first understand, and then you can enjoy that. Please imagine that on a spiritual basis. First, we will cover the physical aspect of what is the Nabhi of Srimad Narayana mean. What is the this Padmam that is coming out of, this lotus coming out, and Brahma sitting on the lotus, and the creation is taking place. What does it mean? That we will understand in Slokam 25, 26, and 27. We'll cover that on the physical aspect first, and then enjoy the spiritual aspect. So let me read the Slokam 25 now. Tat Visvanabhim tu Ativartya Vishnoho Aniyasa Virajena Atmana Yekaha Namaskritam Brahmavidam Upaiti Kalpa Ayusha Yate Vibhudaha Ramante. And we'll take up the meaning tomorrow with Bhagavan's grace. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.